How many have seen me speak before? So then you know that a large portion of my adult life has been spent working in school districts. This is your newest Republican. His name is Johnny Ferguson, and his mom is also running in the 23rd district. But I'm kind of his pseudo-grandma, so I take care of him when we go out and campaign. I do a lot of things with him and with Mom, because the three of us women working up in the northern part of this county are working as a team. We have become the voices for reason going to Olympia. And I want to expound a little bit on what Chris Liba was talking to you about the wonderful issues in our unemployment department. Those of you that have heard me speak before know that I work from my gut. And my gut told me months ago that the problem in the unemployment department had to be an inside job. Now, interestingly enough, how many of you know the very popular, very long-term talk radio show host Dory Monson? You listen to him, he's amazing. And that man has been right on the money about where he saw this state going for a number of decades. On his show yesterday, he was not planning on speaking about that issue, but it came to his attention that there were new facts that came out. And of course, Dory's going to tell you about them. Surprisingly enough, there was a FOIA request done, and it was not by the biggest newspaper in this state. The Seattle paper didn't have anything to do with it. It was the Puget Sound Business Journal that did this FOIA request. Guess what they found out? They found out that on April 4th, that's the exact date, there was a very highly placed official in the ESD department who deliberately went in and turned off the security measures that allowed that scam to take place. On May 5th, that same official went in and somehow, magically, turned that security device back on. So anybody that is a business owner, and that includes me, we all have SAW accounts. Those are so that everyone with a business can go in and do their business online, pay their taxes, do their employee reporting, all of that. Every single person's Social Security number that was in that system was all exposed to those Nigerian scam artists. They have requested, the woman who exposed Enron, how many of you here know who Enron was? Or the business Enron? Her name, and I keep forgetting it, so I have my little cheat sheet right here. Her name is Lynn Brewer. She is doing the same thing for us now, for us Washingtonians. She has requested a FOIA of all of the emails between Susie, the governor, on all of the topics related to the ESD. Guess what they've told her? Guess when she's going to get the FOIA request? Thank you. After the election! Does this piss anybody off? Because it really gets my goat. And I told you that if I get sent to Olympia, one of the biggest things I'm going to do, like with Elizabeth, cleaning up Olympia, paramount. Somebody needs to go to jail for a very long time. Yeah, you're right. A lot of people do. But I would bet everything. Who knows what Susie Levine's background is? Her background is in computers. Guess what she worked on? She worked on the DOS operating system. You think that she should have known what was going on in her own department? Oh, heck yeah. There's not a single solitary ounce of her that probably did not know exactly what was going on. I don't know. It's just been my gut instinct from the get-go. So we want to go to Olympia, and we want to make a lot of changes. The number one thing right out of the gate, besides dealing with the ESD, is certainly going to be the fiscal disruption to this entire state. Inslee has completely and utterly ignored his legislature. He's refused to work with them. They have pleaded on more than one occasion, and he's refused. So there's going to be a lot of restructuring fiscally that's going to have to be done. I mean, it's a given. We can't live in a house if we don't pay the bills. The state is getting to a point where it can't pay the bills. I think the latest number was 3 or 4 million, and that's before the end of the year. It's getting very desperate. And how many of you saw his announcement? I don't know, but I might call it buying votes of illegal immigrants, because he just pledged $40 million. $40 million. I don't know, that's saying. The next thing on the agenda would certainly be the amazingly disgusting sexual education bill. How many of you know who Maya Espinoza is? Did you all vote for her? Because she's wonderful. She is absolutely wonderful. You know that she had in some of her literature that part of this approved curriculum was that your fourth graders were going to be taught sexual positions. I say that quietly. A lot of what is in here is too embarrassing for me to talk about in front of adults, let alone talk about in front of children. She was sued about that in her documents by the current OSPI leader, Mr. Reichdahl. Guess what? She lost, or he lost. She gets to keep that in her documents because she was right. That's what they want to teach your children and your grandchildren. Not in our lifetime. Not in my lifetime. I don't know about any of you, but I don't think any of you want that taught to your children and grandchildren in public schools. That's not where it belongs. The next thing we would do is deal with eliminating sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, sanctuary state. It is amazing how differently the mayor of Seattle changed her tune when people like Chaz decided to come and visit her house. Isn't that just amazing? She just suddenly flipped a light switch. And now they're gone, thankfully. And all of you are probably aware that the only person that called the father of the first 19-year-old that was murdered in Chaz was not the mayor. It was the President of the United States of America. He had the humbleness to call this father and extend his immense sympathies for his loss. I have yet to figure out why the mayor of that city could not deal with that in an appropriate manner. I don't know. Leaves me wondering a lot about where people's morals are these days. But I have to tell you, I used to be a Democrat. I have apologized to people over and over. Problem is, I was always conservative. I just didn't know the difference between the party platforms. And I have made it my mission that I am going to teach my grandchildren and every other young child about the Constitution and about the difference between the two parties. One of the problems, and it's not necessarily a problem, but the difference between the two parties is the Democrats want everybody right in lockstep. Not the Republicans. The Republicans are for individualism. That's why we have a little bit tougher time trying to get behind the same candidate or behind the same ideas, because we are individuals. But we need to do that in this election. We need to do it severely, badly. We need to get out, and as Marty was saying, we need to talk to our neighbors, talk to our friends, maybe talk to our enemies. You might find that you're not an enemy. You might find that single common ground that you could build on. That's what we have to do. Every single one of us, please, if you do nothing else, if you don't help in any other way by signage or handing out things, please talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. See if you can't get that one common area. And that sex ed bill has really been a primo thing that the Democrats gave to us, because most parents, day or two before they passed that bill, there were 6,000 parents down in Olympia. They didn't listen to any of them. But you notice the governor signed that bill with absolutely no fanfare. Can't imagine why. I don't know. I would like to thank everybody who voted. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, make sure they're registered to vote, make sure they turn in their ballots. It's amazing how many people get them and then just sort of forget to turn them in. We can't do that this time, guys. This is, as Marcus was saying, we are in the middle of a war. It's a different kind of war than we have ever fought before in our lives. But we need to be aware that it indeed is a war. Glennie had the young man Anton Sakharov here at one of her rallies several weeks ago, and he talked about what it was like in his native Ukraine and how he lived with communism and what this country is beginning to look like now. I was very blessed in being able to meet an 84-year-old woman who came to my house for an election night party. She escaped from Hungary. She was born and raised in Hungary. She has shrapnel in her body as a result of trying to escape from a communist regime. That is a woman who has experienced life that most people who have lived their entire lives, including myself in this country, have never had to deal with. She said, you need to get up and you need to energize people because this is real. That's where this country is headed, and so many people who are here from foreign countries who have had to work to get to this country, they came here for our Constitution and our freedoms. Let's keep those freedoms. See you in November at the polls, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock it!